Dobry wieczór Państwu. Zapraszam na kolejną konferencję
Good evening, ladies and
Państwowej
gentlemen.
Komisji Wyborczej.
Let me welcome you at yet another conference of the National Electoral Commission, at which we are going to hear about the partial result. I would like to give the floor to Andrzej Kisielewicz. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have yet another communication from our Commission about the partial electoral results as per the 9 p.m. tonight. The results have not changed very much because during the several hours between the previous conference and this conference, actually 4 more polling districts delivered their reports. At 3 p.m. We had reports from a smaller number of now we have 108,077 out of the total number of 123,355. As far as the elections for commune heads, mayors of cities and presidents of cities, we have results for 900 communes and cities. As for the elections to commune councils, we have the results for 892 commune councils. Definitely the number of polling districts, electoral districts, where we've received, from where we received results for powiat councils, we already have the results for 163 powiat councils. Well, unfortunately, we still do not have any results regarding the elections to voivodeship assemblies. As for the results for presidents in selected 18 cities, that is the same cities that we've presented before, not much has changed actually. Nothing has changed as far as the sequence of the ranking of individual candidates in individual cities is concerned, because it's pretty late. I'm not going to give you a detailed presentation. Soon you will receive the communication. Let me just say that out of the 18 cities that we took into account here, in 8 cities we have 100% of the results available already, from 100% of the reports. In the remaining ones, there are just a few percent missing, mostly in Toruń, because we have the results for 91.67% of the reports, and actually there is a relatively low percentage of the approved reports for the city of Warsaw. It's 92.78%. Nothing has changed, as I've already said, as far as the ranking of individual candidates is concerned. And now the results for the selected powiats and powiat councils and commune councils. Let me give you the same presentation as before. Polskie Stronnictwo Ludowe, the highest result was achieved in the case of voivodeship assemblies in Świętokrzyskie voivodeship. Also, there they have obtained the highest result in the elections for commune councils. And as far as the powiat councils are concerned, the best results was achieved by PSL in lubelskie voivodeship. Prawo i Sprawiedliwość, in the voivodeship assemblies, the highest result was achieved in podkarpackie voivodeship, and also the highest result for powiat and commune councils. Platforma Obywatelska, the highest results were achieved in pomorskie voivodeship for voivodeship assemblies. And in the same voivodeship, Platforma Obywatelska also won in the elections for commune councils and powiat councils. And the fourth important electoral committee, election committee, received in Lubuskie Voivodeship, and also Lubuskie Voivodeship gave the highest result for this committee, SLD, in Powiat councils, and as far as commune councils are concerned, they obtained the highest result in Pomorskie Voivodeship. So briefly, these are the partial results, and the full scope of the results will be given to you immediately after the press conference. Now I would like to give the floor to Judge Zabłocki to refer to the issue that's probably of most interesting for you, that is the operation of the IT system. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the information that we received from Nabinu Company, which was confirmed by our representative for the elections, that is Director Drapiński. Fortunately, we have been able to fully cope with the segment of the system that so far disabled printing of the results of voting and the results of the elections. Both as far as the elections for commune heads, mayors and president of the cities, and also in the elections for members of commune councils. In this segment of the system, according to the information that we've received, everything is working now, including the printing functionality. The system has been made available in this respect to the territorial electoral commissions, and they can now calculate the final results for the elections for commune councils, presidents and mayors of the cities, and members of commune councils. These documents can be filled in without any problems now, and as far as we know, everything is fully ready. Unfortunately, the same is not true as far as the possibility of printing reports of the results of elections to city councils, powiat councils, and voivodeship assemblies is concerned. Because although the system was improved to the extent that it's possible to print the results of voting and the results of the elections to powiat councils and voivodeship assemblies. So this can be printed, but unfortunately the annexes or appendices to these reports cannot be printed. According to the information that we've received from the same people, that is the representative of Nabinu Company, which was then confirmed by a director for the IT director of the National Electoral Commission, this segment of the system should be made available to the territorial electoral commissions still today, before midnight. If this really happens, and if this document is fully available in the system for the territorial commissions in the form enabling printing, the territorial electoral commissions will be able to fill the document in, and then it will be possible to have the election results within a few hours. However, although this is good news actually, but because such good news we've had several times during the day today. We have decided to stick to our decision that we informed you on during the conference at 4:30 p.m. And all electoral commissioners and IT representatives in the branches of the National Electoral Office recommendations were developed by Director Drabiński concerning the alternative calculation of the results of the elections and the results of voting for voivodeship assemblies, as well as the cities having the status of powiat cities to powiat councils and to voivodeship assemblies. To sum up, it is now possible for the territorial electoral commissions to fully use the electronic system developed by Nabino company as far as calculation of the results of the votes and the results of the elections in the majority-based elections. It's also possible to print the results there. So let me repeat it once again, because we need to be very precise. I mean, elections for commune councils, mayors, and presidents of the cities, and elections to commune councils. On the other hand, probably still before midnight, there will be a possibility for the territorial electoral commissions to start full work with the use of the system developed by Nabino company, including the printing of the reports, also for the proportional elections, that is to voivodeship assemblies, powiat councils, councils of the cities having the status of powiats, and to the councils of city districts. But since Director Drapiński has already provided the territorial commissions with the alternative manner of calculating the votes, it is possible that the territorial commissions will calculate the results of the elections and the results of the vote in this alternative way. So this is the communication resulting the repair status of the system at 10 p.m. And this is all we wanted to say. And while we're starting with Polish Press Agency, Katarzyna Nocuń, I would like to ask about the territorial commissions which have already stopped their work and they announced a break until the morning. How many of these there are? And since we've received this information that it's possible to print the reports for the elections that you have mentioned, should they now come back to work before the morning, during the break that they announced? And was that their autonomous decision that they are going to take a break, or did they receive their guidelines from the National Electoral Commission or National Office? Thank you very much. The National Electoral Commission recommended clearly that the territorial electoral commission should not interrupt their work until they receive all the reports from the district electoral commissions. Only then they could make the decision to either make the calculations manually, or they could choose to wait until they are able to use the IT system. According to the National Electoral Commission, first they needed to enter all the reports provided by the district commissions, because otherwise calculation of the results would not be possible. From what we can see, unfortunately, there are some reports from the district commissions coming, but very few of them actually. So we hope that the territorial commissions will wake up and start working. It's hard for me to say how many of them. Altogether, we have approximately 3,000 such commissions. Well, I'm sure that not all of them went to sleep. Well, it's not infringement of the regulations, no. The regulations do not specify in which way the territorial commissions should operate. It was the National Commission that decided on the procedure that they need to enter the data from the reports from the district commissions. The VN 24, unfortunately, the speaker is not using the microphone.
Panie redaktorze, prosimy o włączenie mikrofonu.
I would like to ask you to give us more precise commissions. What should be the reaction from the National Electoral Commission towards those territorial commissions that have suspended their work? And this is one question, and I would like to go back once again to the public procurement procedure and the company that provided the IT system. Why the tender procedure was organized so late? Because the company says that 90 days actually was too short a time for the system development. 90 days would be needed for testing of the system. Well, the National Electoral Commission expects that once the IT system starts operating normally, the territorial electoral commissions will start their work again. And we are going to mobilize them to do that. As for the tender procedure, as I have said several times already, the big tender procedure was invalidated because of formal reasons, and we could announce the new tender procedure only after appropriate funds in the state budget have been secured for this purpose. We do realize that the time was very short, but that resulted from the necessity. And there was just one company that decided to undertake this task. At that time, we couldn't know. Well, maybe our IT knowledge is not as excellent as the knowledge of those who give their opinions, though. I'm not referring to you personally, but in the mass media, we've seen different statements made by IT specialists. They were right, but we also need to bear in mind what conditions we are working in. I mean, can we afford working on the system for 1 year, or is it maybe it's not possible? TVP Info. I have one more question regarding the commissions that have suspended that work. Of course, we may not be talking about any penalties or forcing them to stay. We can only recommend to them that they keep working. But we know that they stopped their work until 7 a.m. or 10 a.m. tomorrow. So when can we expect another conference tomorrow and some more information? Well, I'm convinced that those territorial commissions that have taken a break until 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. will definitely be asked to start their work. But if your requests do not actually bring about any results, and they just come to work at 10 a.m. Well, of course, we don't want to apply any coercive measures, but definitely a territorial commission consisting of a dozen or so people can work in a group, at least half of the members. Of course, it's better if all the members are present, but half of the members would also be enough. They need to finalize their work with entering the data from the reports coming from the district commissions, and they can do that until the time when they have the full membership. And as for the time for the next press conference, we'll give you this information later on. Polsat News, Renata Górkiewicz. As for the IT system, was it going to be used only for this particular elections, or also next year's presidential and parliamentary elections? This system that is used right now, and its basic part, that is the electoral calculator, and the method of calculating the voting results in the majority rule-based elections, will be used in the elections next year. As for the part regarding the calculation of the results in the proportional elections, can be used in the parliamentary elections, because the methods of calculation of the votes and assignment of the mandates is exactly the same. Maybe some modification will be needed, because the legislator frequently changes the regulations, so it may be necessary to introduce certain modifications, but this will be just like upgrading the system, changing the configuration. But generally speaking, yes, we will be able to use the system. Won't you be afraid that if this system has failed now on such a big scale, it will also fail next year during these very important elections? Well, I have to be optimistic. If this system is being repaired and is partly working very well now, I hope that next year it will also be working. Before next year's elections, we will also have time to run tests from the point of view of the presidential and parliamentary elections. RMF is the next question. Are you going to demand any compensation from Nabino company because of this failure, system failure? Do you have such a possibility provided for in the contract? Each contract in which public funds are used can ensure sort of a compensation or remuneration regarding breaking of the contractual provisions. And yes, the contract with Nabino company includes such provisions. We will have to establish the scope of this liability, and we will need to calculate penalty interest. What consequences are we talking about? This I cannot say yet, because we will have to make the calculations. But this will depend on how many hours of delays we've had. But there will be consequences. Yes, there will be. Any other questions? The Polish Press Agency? I just would like to ask more questions regarding the elections in Warsaw and the results from Warsaw. Could you give more detail concerning the candidates? You're asking about the presidential elections. I mean, for the president of the city. Of course. As I've said, the sequence itself has not changed. The number of the reports that we've received is 92%, 92.78%. Hanna Beata Grączkiewicz-Walc, 47.16%. Then Sasin Jacek Robert, 27.75%. And the third position, Guział Piotr Andrzej, 8.57%. And one more question from TVN24. When can we expect to get the official results? Well, of course, this question has to be asked during a press conference, of course. Well, let me remind you what I said 15 minutes ago. Well, of course, I'm not smiling because I'm so happy. I'm smiling because I am tired. And it seems like you're missing the information which we've already given to you. If in the part that has not been fully repaired yet, so let me remind you, the part regarding the function of printing the reports in the proportional method-based elections, and not the reports themselves, but the appendices to the reports. That is the list of the results and split of the mandates in individual electoral districts. But this appendix, of course, constitutes an inherent part of the report. If the repaired works by Nabino Company are completed still today, as we've been informed, then it will be possible to announce the results of the voting and the results of the elections, well, not necessarily as I have read out, that is within several hours, but within several hours from the time when the territorial electoral commissions start their work using also this module in the system. And here I'm referring to the previously asked questions concerning the breaks or suspension of the work of the commissions that you are aware of, and which we will try to shorten as far as we can. Well, we don't want to excuse anybody, but I do understand that the members of the territorial electoral commissions may also be tired and may be willing to take some rest to be able to work in a more responsible manner, not being under stress and being so tired. But once they start working using all the modules of the systems, we're talking about several hours from that moment. Well, let's say that everything starts working, but this is a theoretical assumption. Let's say that everything starts working still today. If at 6 a.m. all territorial electoral commissions start using all the system modules, then probably early in the afternoon tomorrow we'll be able to announce the results. But provided that it will be possible to use all the modules of the system developed by Nabino Company. If we need to start the alternative procedure, then of course there will be a greater delay, and at the moment I'm not able to tell you anything else than what we've already said, that we're talking about more or less 48 hours. One specific question. So today at midnight, are we going to learn whether all the faults of the systems have been repaired and whether it will be possible to use the IT system for calculation of votes? Well, I'm not sure whether a press conference has been planned for midnight, but I think that we can send such a communication to you. I think that such a communication would be necessary. This is my private opinion, but I'll dare to say it openly. Irrespective of what information we'll receive from the president of Nabino Company and Director Drapiński, that is positive information or negative information, I believe that we should provide this information to you. If this is the information that this is the last stage of the repair, that, for example, we're talking about half an hour or an hour, this, of course, will be the news also that you'll be waiting for you. So, yes, definitely we need to provide you with this information. Well, today or very early in the morning tomorrow or at night. Thank you very much for the participation in this conference, and I don't think that we're going to meet again tonight. Probably we'll meet in the morning, but we'll confirm this, of course.